fucking children.
No, I'm not.
The fuck you're not.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it, my life has value.
Hello, my name is Cooley McCoulson. This is Kittens McCoulson, and today we have got Shay Bay along with us. We are Kids Are Not Toys. Thank you guys very much for joining us. June rather is Internet Safety Month, and so we are starting off a show to talk a little bit about internet safety and how you can keep your kids online safe, and how parents can discuss this with their kids. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, that's what this is really all about, you know, keeping kids safe, and that includes our own. Knowledge is power.
Yep, and we got to keep our decoys safe too. Speaking of decoys, we have Shay from CPP, which most of you guys have probably heard of. Shay, I have had the pleasure of working with for a couple years. Is one of my favorite people on the planet. Not only someone that I have worked with, out of people that I've worked with, but just people that I know throughout my life. She's a genuine soul. She's here to help save children, and that's what we're doing together.
Yeah, one of the things that I think drew me to CPP in particular, and this falls true with Shay, is the passion that people have, and the passion that they keep for you know, trying to protect kids. Like, them's my kind of people, you know, people that want to make change. And Shay, you are definitely one of them folk.
Absolutely.
You guys are such genuine people, and I love you both so much. So I'm honored to be here today. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And what we're going to do is first we'll talk a little bit about some internet safety, and then we'll get it right from the mouth of someone who has been decoying online as a child for some time. Probably, what, Shay, a couple of years now? Two and a half years?
2 years. I started February 14th.
Wow.
2021, yeah.
Wow, what a day. That's a new holiday. Yeah, I was guessing, because I've been in it about 3 years, and it seemed like a year later.
Yeah.
Right on. Well,
Yeah, that's a lot of scary folk you had to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Right. All right. So Kidden and I had scoured the internet. We were going through trying to find a nice something we could put together for you guys to keep your friends, your loved ones safe online. And we're using as a reference a website called thorn.org. And we had pretty much come up with, well, we can't beat that. So why don't we present thorn.org to these folks a little bit?
It has like everything that you could possibly need as a parent, or somebody who, you know, is like a role model for kids, you know, aunt or uncle or whatnot. But it has all the stages, all the ages, all parts of development. So it really is useful for pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Yep, this is Thorn. This is the situation. We've got kids in puberty, and we've got tech. And when those three meet, you can have problems. You can have problems, as we have seen. They start off, we'll just give you a quick little tour for what you can expect when you go there. It starts off earlier than you might think. They've got info for kids that are 4 to 6 years old. And,
yeah, I mean, you think about it, you see kids that age with tablets all the time. And once they have that, it's not hard to see it going in a direction where they're going to be talking to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have seen catch teams out there with, people talking to really, really young children. Resources for kids that are 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and 13 plus, which is what our decoys are. I did notice today, they says get notified when the content for 13 plus is available, but it looks like it's a work in progress.
No. What that means, maybe it is.
Yeah.
So what I did when I was looking at this website, it prompted me to sign up for like an email newsletter. And that's what I did. So I've been getting like a lot of little helpful like hints and stuff to do with my own children. Yeah, I thought that's what it meant, but maybe not.
Yeah, good thinking. Well, keep us posted on that one.
Sure thing.
They do have a few different topics. Sexting and nudes. That's an issue with children these days. And with sexting also comes up the issue of sextortion. Have you guys heard of this? Someone will talk a child into either a very revealing conversation or have them send sexual pictures of themselves and then extort them with that stuff. And really recently in the news, kids have committed, they've unalived themselves. I think YouTube prefers you say.
That drives me crazy because it still means the same thing.
It still means the same
thing. It's so weird. Sorry.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. But that's a big issue. You click on that. We got a big thing about sexting and nudes. And the really good thing about and the thread through all of this is it really instructs you as a parent not only about how to address these issues with your kids, but kind of how to get these conversations started with the children about it as well. Device access and monitoring. You probably do want to check your children's phones. I've always been of the opinion that, you should check your child's phone and you should let them know that they're doing it, that they should expect that. Because it's dangerous out there.
Both my kids
check
are
your
fully
grandparents' phones. Right. Yeah. We say check your kids and grandparents' devices for different reasons, obviously, but just in case. Let's see. Did you want to dip into that one real quick, Kitten, or device access?
Well, just that it has some tools. There you go. It talks about like privacy settings. It talks about having the conversation with your child about, about knowing that their phone is it's their phone, but it's mine. Like you want to respect their privacy, but at the same time, you still need to be a parent. So, it's just a good thing for them to be aware of. Conversation starters. This is probably my favorite part on the whole website, honestly, because sometimes it is hard just to broach the subject.
Looks like Cards of Humanity, only a little more, put together and clean. But they do have some great, starters for talking to your child. You know how movies are rated G, PG, 13. So we know what's safe for kids. Let's rate these apps together to see which ones are appropriate for someone your age. And they're, be hemming and hawing. They're children and all their friends are using it. But man, as we're going to discuss some of these apps, things get vile quick. Your favorite games online, anywhere adults can access your child that's logged in online. In my opinion, it's a danger.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I agree.
Sounds like Shay thinks so too, and she's been in this world for a couple of years. Let's see.
Yeah, even
Open
like
communication
Xbox,
is
you
key.
know,
Mhm.
people tend to be, it seems like people are a little more lax with that kind of thing, but like, you know, playing video games with live chat, that's
Mhm.
another
Yeah.
concern that I think gets overlooked.
Mary Lou,
Anything
that's
really
true.
Oh,
Oh, what's that, Shay?
online is just anything online really is dangerous for children.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just anything, in my opinion, with games and all that
Yeah.
stuff. They're
And
everywhere, you know.
Mary Lou makes a good point too. She says, back when my kids were younger, I could check computers and phones, but nowadays it seems illegal. And maybe it is. Well, it's probably not, unless it's their phone or something they worked for it. But like at the same time, you're a parent, and I think it is important to set those expectations that, hey, you know, you are now a young adult, but we still need to really watch this because you're learning about yourself, you're learning about the world, and we need to make sure it's my job to get you out of this, you know, as unscathed as possible.
we want to keep those aces down.
That's right. Keep the aces down. Watch the aces episode.
Down with aces.
How is meeting people online different from friends you meet at school? It's a great question. You know, so thorn.org, it's a very, to me, it seems like it has a lot of good info. And we didn't show Shay this in the beginning. Hey, they got our show name right there. But Shay, does this look useful to you at all? Is this putting a Band-Aid on a gaping, open, bloody wound, or what do you think? Is this a good start? This thorn.org, these type of things?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Any start's a good start, I think.
Yeah.
And the research that you guys pull all the time here, as it is your episodes, are so informative, and that's just the only word I could ever come up is that it's very informative for
well,
a lot of people.
Really, yeah, I mean, I agree. Like the conversation has to start somewhere. So, you know, why not start with us? But yeah, if we don't talk about it, we can't, like, you can't fix something that you don't discuss and know is broken. And you can't protect someone from something they don't know anything about, or even yourself. So the more information, the better.
Yeah, is arming them with as much information as they can possibly have about it. You know, when it does happen, at least they'll be ready for it and won't fall for how slippery and sleazy these guys are when they come up. A lot of great comments in the chat. Keep them coming, guys.
I know I can't keep up. I haven't even.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to you. Tom says it's so easy for adults to groom kids online undercover. And it's true.
Yeah,
like
it's true.
When I was
there was
go ahead.
There was a teacher at my kid's school that actually he pretended like he was a 14-year-old student that had moved away from the school, and he befriended like kids in like 7th and 8th grade and was basically sextorting them, getting pictures and telling them that they had to keep on doing it or else, you know, they were gonna show the whole school. So,
when I was younger, like what they would have us look out for was people parked in front of the school, you know, watching kids or hanging out at parks, you know. And
I
now
had the Adam Walsh game. Sorry.
Right. And now these same creeps, they have access to our children from a device that's in pretty much every one of these kids' pocket. Like they don't have to be parked out front of a school or a park. They have access to these kids 24 hours a day. You know,
and online you can be anyone you want to be, and that includes somebody that's going to entice kids.
You know what's scary? Michelle made a comment, my sister, and I remember that too in school. She said there were so many teachers that made me uncomfortable.
Oh, there she is.
Way too close over my shoulder. Me too. There was always a couple teachers that were like, oh, creepy, you know, such and such. Mr. Good, whatever you want to call him. But even the teachers, I remember that hall monitors.
Yeah.
I
haven't thought of that since probably middle school, but like come to think of it, there was this PE teacher that we had that everyone was just like, oh, that's the guy. And like all the kids, like, you know, at that point, 7th grade was the first time you got into junior high. And so we all had to shower. And the guy would just stand there with his arms crossed, just watching all the boys showering every time without fail. And he'd have this weird look on his face. Yeah, and everyone was just like, oh, watch out for that guy. I'm not dropping any names, but
how is that socially acceptable to have kids get naked halfway through school and shower, but they can't provide like shower curtains for these showers? Like, how is that even socially acceptable at any point?
Yeah.
That just sounds really uncomfortable. I've never had to shower after gym.
Yeah. Well,
or even changing out. I was always so uncomfortable like that in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Other girls too. I was just, that never makes sense ever.
So we're going to kind of switch gears. We're going to talk to Shay. If you guys have any questions, burning questions you ever had for one of the best decoys in the business, put them in chat there. We've got a few for our, that we kind of came up with just to get some conversations going about this topic, as well as decoying in general. But
real quick, can I just say one more thing about the Thorn website that I meant to say earlier? So not only does it have all of those great resources for like education and conversation, but it also has what to do if. So like if the worst thing were to happen, you know, to you as a parent to your child, it sort of breaks down what steps to take. Like my child's nudes were leaked, or my child is being blackmailed or sextorted. So it has like appropriate and comprehensive steps for parents when something like that happens, which includes, you know, concerns about sexual behavior or possibly something happening in the community.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good. Yeah, that's all very important stuff. And at the end of the show, I think we'll save it till the end, but we do have some good information on NCMEC and how to do a cyber tip with them if you do have a child or you suspect the child is being sexually exploited online.
Yes, Michelle, Thorn.
Let's see. Yep, thorn.org. That's one. All right. So, Miss Shay, welcome again. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Was there like a defining moment where you realized you wanted to be a decoy? Like what happened? How did you become a decoy?
Yeah. So I think it was when I first started following CPP. It was the Roni catch Tommy was doing. And so that area was right outside of my town, technically the same town, but it's not. And my sister shared it to me, was like, look at this guy's catching predators. And I was just so drawn to it. And I just started binge watching all of Tommy's videos. And, you know, Tommy was like, hey, we want to be a decoy, email me. And I was like, yes, I do want to help. And it was so quick. I sent an email. Next thing you know, it was like in orientation. Just from watching that video.
Were you concerned at all?
Oh,
What's that?
Were you concerned at all about? Sorry, babe. Were you concerned at all about how it might affect your mental health, like doing this? Did you even question like what kind of an impact it would have on you, or was it just not? That wasn't your first thought when it came to it.
No, I did not feel like I was going to have
such a badass.
Because as a survivor from like a childhood trauma, I had no attachment to it. I had no feelings towards it. So I had, I was like, I'm ready to do it for a long time. I strongly was like, yes, I'm good.
Was the Roni the first catch you saw CPP do? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was by far the most
was a
viewed
big
catch.
one.
Yeah, I think combined views, I've seen it up at least around 80 million. It must have gone out over 100 million for that catch.
Yeah.
TikTok kind of
Hearts in the chat for the decoys.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that decoys are heroes. I think it takes a really strong person to be able to act as like the shield of, you know, the onslaught of disgustingness that comes towards kids every day.
Yeah.
You put yourself on the line of fire. That's pretty badass.
Absolutely do.
Bryden had a question that I thought was great. Shay, do you have someone to fall back on as far as mental health? Lots of decoys end up with severe PTSD, and it's scary.
Oh, yes. I couldn't be any more grateful for my sister. She's been there with me through the beginning.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. And I mean, literally from the very beginning of us going through that as children, and this has almost been such a like therapeutic thing for her and I both.
It's gonna make me cry.
What I'm doing. Yeah. And anytime she's my rock through it all. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find, so when you started, you didn't really have any sort of thoughts about that. Has that changed at all since you've been doing it now for a while? Do you, has your perspective changed as far as, you know, like how it affects you and, you know?
Yeah. It definitely is caught up on me. Just being numb to it.
Yeah.
You know, besides recent things too, has taken a little bit of a toll on me for sure. I don't plan on quitting anytime soon, so there's that.
Oh no, that would be horrible.
But it definitely is exhausting. I mean, it literally, you know, the hard preds that stick around and you know want to not leave a trail, and the ones that we really have to work on, and because none of them stay around to be your friend, you know. It's a matter of cracking them and getting them where we need to get them so they can be caught. Sometimes those guys take the last bit of me, you know. But once they're caught, it's the biggest reward, you know, and another child saved.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a pred that was most memorable that you caught? I mean, there's multiple ways to answer it and answer it however you choose, but is there a most memorable one?
There's a couple actually. I had this already answered when I was kind of going over my notes. Obviously, besides the most recent situation with Alan, that took a toll on me mentally from my own thing. But there were two in particular besides that situation. William Toss. This guy, he's most memorable because I learned the most while decoying him. I had to move to, you know, another app that I hadn't used before. It was the Signal app, and you know, he could put a timer on and there do a self-destruct after a few seconds. Well, I had to literally work the hardest on that pred, probably the hardest I've ever had to learn as I was going, and he was so demanding and mean, and just it was nonstop. He would send messages every second behind each other, and I had to be ready with my phone to like take the picture before it would erase. And I even made the biggest mistakes during that part too, that I had to learn from as well. So I learned a lot just from that pet alone. I will never forget him, and I hate his guts. You guys actually were out there for that cat. He came from the Springs. It was you guys, Tommy, Vanessa, Lisa.
Oh, but I think we may have slept through that one.
Oh,
Like we weren't actually on site for that one. Cooley and I.
really?
I think we were in Colorado, but we didn't, or did we? No.
I thought you guys were there, but it was so quick. He freaking. I couldn't really communicate with Tommy because I was on the phone with him, and he was going to go drive to the other side of the building because he thought he was on the wrong side. And then, then Tommy was like, there he is. So Tommy just went to confront him right there, which he had time to. And the guy.
Tommy confirms. It was Vanessa and Lisa, so we must have been sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he took off in his car, and it was just the most. It ruined my entire day at work. I cried all day. It's like, you piece of shit. So
I feel like that would frustrate the living hell out of me.
Oh yeah, it definitely did, and I'm just like, I worked so hard with that guy, and I learned so much. So because of that, he's probably my most memorable one. And then just another one that wasn't even as horrible as they come. They all are horrible, but the first one that triggered me personally was I don't remember his name, but Tommy remember because Tommy was decoying him as well. And because that one was a little memorable because that was the first time that I was actually affected, like with my own trauma. With the chat logs, he was just too similar to my own trauma, and I was just like, you fucking bastard. I don't know if I could say that on, but
yeah,
sure, go for it. Those are tough, man. Those are tough. I most people don't even know that I decoyed because I only did for 2 of them, and I was triggered pretty hard by it, and just decided I'll find other ways to help the movement. So I respect you guys so much who do this, just because I do know how difficult it is. But thank you.
Yeah.
So, do you think that children are in danger, or at least a little bit, when they upload a profile to an app, like say a Telegram or a Snapchat?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's your experience been with that? Like, if you upload a profile to a given app, how long until you get your first message, maybe by someone to a child who looks like they're 13?
Yeah, I think every app is a little different. Maybe it's maybe there's something wrong with the app itself, but I literally set something up, and I would say within the first 30 minutes to an hour, they're in my inbox,
Yeah.
So fairly quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, and to be clear, it doesn't say, hey, I'm 13, but it definitely has young looking pictures. Your age is like maybe 60 years old or something. You're obviously not 60, but you got people interested in you.
It's basically absurd. It's like an absurd, like anybody who would really believe that you were 56 with that picture something's clearly wrong with them. So I think pretty much everybody that sees that picture knows that there's somebody very young on the other end of it, regardless of what the app says. Yeah,
it's a curiosity there that they are interested in. So
that blows my mind. Like, how can people be curious about
you immediately, like
talking to a child like that? There's something wrong with them, right? Like, if they're even going to be just a little bit curious about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they tend to use words like curious and experimenting type, just weird words of how they might.
Lonely.
Yeah. It's just
Depressed.
wild. So Tommy and I, we've done quite a few catches together. And a lot of these preds, when we have them on scene on the site, they claim to be nice guys. Do you, like when you're on these apps, when you're on these chat apps, do you encounter actual nice guys who talk to you and then say, whoa, you're 13? Hold on, you really shouldn't be here. Or they're actually nice guys trying to be helpful. Does that happen?
Rarely.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's even almost like a little it feels wrong to say that, but that's the truth. It's a rare percentage that you know, that don't stick around.
And I've definitely seen them because I get to read a lot of chat logs too, but they'll say, oh, you shouldn't be here, but then I mean an hour later they're right back in there, you know.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
know,
I see.
I don't know if we're like in this section yet of it about kind of what I had talked to you guys about with my decoy phone, or if we just get there.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, wherever you want to go.
Me and my sisters had done a little experiment and looked through my decoy phone, and before doing this, I was like, what percentage people actually like stick around and don't? And I'm like, I would say 80%.
80% stick around?
Yeah.
So you're saying 80% of those who talk to you and approach you on an app and then find out, you tell them, hey, I'm 13 years old, stick around to continue conversing with you.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And about 20% don't. And I went through my phone and went through this person and this person after I've age dropped, and it was spot on.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat
to be
made
clear,
a nice point too. Nice a lot of times is grooming tactic. Like,
oh yeah, we see so many nice guys with DV charges and assault charges, like just rap sheets crazy long, and they espouse kind of how nice they are. To Shay's point earlier, I do want to point out that she's saying 80% stick around, but what I'm hearing is this is not 80% of the general population. This is 80% of those who selected a profile of a person who appears to be 13 years old and start chatting with them. So I don't know, that's representative of just everybody if 80% would talk to a child, but more of those people seeking, someone who looks just like that.
Right.
I think that's an important distinction.
That I personally have from my own experience, not.
Yeah. Still, that number is so high.
They see a child.
It is horrible.
That is just wild. Whew. Okay. Do you have a feel for like out of those 80%? So you got 80% who stay after you're talking. Like, how many of those are actually caught by our catch team, by Colorado Ped Patrol? Ballpark, just rough. We're not gonna hassle you on 10-15%.
Yeah. I would say there's always a percentage that just want to come and use the child and explore and do all this and this, but don't want to sit and meet. But I think more so meet the team than not. And I got a handful that I can count on one hand that have stuck around. They just haven't got sexual. And it's been quite a while now, and I'm just like, man, you're not hanging around to be my friend, it's just But
do you think they're being more careful than? Excuse me. Do you think they're being more careful than anything, or are they not, I mean, I don't know. I guess they must be grooming the child. Like, why else talk to a child like that?
Yeah.
But, so just
they're
being
like,
careful then, maybe?
yeah, a lot of them are just trying to be careful. They don't want to say a lot. Like, they don't want to leave a paper trail, and that is like word for word a lot of them use.
Oh,
Um, they don't want to say something incriminating for themselves.
yeah, Tommy, that too. Can you see that, Shay? It says some want just to get off online, like pictures and phone calls and stuff.
Yeah. As a parent, just back to that 80% one more time. It's chilling to think if you have a 14-year-old child. I know a lot of people that have 14-year-old children, but if they put their picture, say on Telegram, I'm just grabbing that out of the air, of the people that contact them with bad intentions, probably 80% are going to be like, "Oh, you're 14," and keep talking to them. That's what our decoy is seeing here. That is staggering to me as a parent.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, these kids have to lie about their age anyways to even get on these apps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And a lot of the time they try to I don't know, maybe that's just in my own head. They just try to get you to mention multiple numbers when it comes to your age mapping. And I just kind of try to reflect back to, I tried putting 13, it wouldn't let me. Obviously I'm so old,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have a feel for how many of these men you talk to? Do you think they're exclusively attracted to children? Or are these like...
Hey, stole my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask about, well, it's okay. I have a question I can add on to that.
Yeah. Throw on a question onto that. Get it.
No, you finish yours.
Okay. I'm sorry, babe. So if not, like, what do you think that is? Is it 50-50, 75-25, or do you have a feeling for it even? Like, these guys are really just only into kids, or they're into adults too, maybe, and happen upon a child?
It's really hard to say. I feel like more so maybe, I would like to say 50-50, but I know that's not right. I can't say personally that when somebody tells you that they're 13, that should be, it doesn't matter how cute their pictures are, that could be gross after that. Gross.
Yeah, gross.
And so sometimes we like to call them opportunists, right? That are just want to get off, and you happen to be a 13-year-old child. It does not matter. It does not matter. That should be closed immediately. So I don't even like to refer to them as an opportunist. I think that you're a predator, period.
See,
or have an
I almost find it to be more dangerous, like the opportunist, because they're so effing evil that it doesn't matter who it is as long as they get what they want.
Yeah.
So that almost scares me more.
That's what it leads back to. I think it's a predator. You're preying. You're preying on an innocent child. You're preying on something that doesn't know any better or can't protect themselves. That's a predator. I don't like to call any of them opportunists or
Yeah, and your child is not going to need more or less therapy to recover from such a horrible thing. Like, if they're only attracted to some or nothing.
Does not matter. Yeah.
The damage, I'm sure, is exactly the same.
As far as I'm concerned, like, how evil do you have to be to do such damage to a child, to know too that you're doing such damage to a child? Because it's not like people don't know. Like, there's a reason why there's laws. So, but like, to be that evil to even take that step, to even broach a conversation with a kid, there's something wrong with you. There's something broken inside.
I think that there's even naturals too, like definite predators, like the guy that we just caught. Tommy went for Mike in Springs, or not Springs, I'm sorry, Grand Junction, somewhere out there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He did
Was
not
at work.
he did not care at all. He was like trying to make me comfortable about it, and I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
So people that are just like even trying to make the child comfortable with the whole thing, and
Yeah, but it's not that they want the child to actually be comfortable. It's that they want to be able to take advantage of them. And if that's how they can do it, that's how they're going to do it. Like if they really cared about a child's comfort, they wouldn't be talking to this kid. They would have reported them, shut
Clearly
that
they
shit down.
don't.
about
Mike
that.
and
Yeah.
Mike, that fella, he was having her ride a bus 4.5 hours and
By herself.
bring her $280 that she had, for him and all this stuff. So yeah, these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have another question to tack on to that, Kitten?
I think we sort of discussed it I didn't really make it into a question. I was just talking about, go team, good conversation, good talk. What about any apps that you specifically think parents or family members should be on the lookout for when it comes to kids? Are there any that are like super red flags for you?
Yeah, definitely. I wrote down a couple, but overall, a lot of apps. But there's more. But more so, I just wrote down a couple. Like Telegram. Telegram's really bad. Roblox, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. I mean, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I know Cooley had mentioned a couple earlier too that I did not have written down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kitten had found one that I had never even heard of. I don't think you did either.
Likey?
That was
That's what it is.
Likey. Yeah. So watch out for Likey. It's suspicious.
Yeah, when I was doing research, I guess it's like TikTok, but specifically marketed for children. There's no age. There's no like age minimum. It's set for children.
Well, that's even
like in the game store, everything. I'm sorry?
Anybody could access that, right?
Yeah, anybody could access it. And I guess there have been some people that have done a couple articles on it and like stories on it on YouTube even. But it seems like the algorithm specifically hooks adults up with kids. And like they can do like live videos with them with like no like any sort of controls or supervision over it. So
Manly Stranger asks, does anyone here know of any apps that are protecting kids? I think he said it a little different. Better question, are there any social media trying to protect kids? I don't know, man.
There's tons of stuff that they've talked about and like gone through Congress and stuff, but no.
Yeah, I mean, really. If you have a kid on an Xbox playing Madden, I mean, some guy is starting to play football and just starts talking weird. Like, what can you do, man? It doesn't seem like it. Shay, does it seem like it to you? Is there anyone that's out there trying to protect kids, the social media?
No, I think we talked about this earlier, but like the dating apps that we get on as decoys, they're more so like pedo protectors. They just want to protect their clientele base rather than protecting kids. I think that they just have to put that on there as like a
it does seem like it's all about the money, the subscriber count at the end of the day.
Yeah, in fact, one could argue that our our government has made it easier for these apps to not be responsible for what's on there. It's made them almost like a separate entity and given it its own freedom of speech as like a person would. And it offers a lot more protections. So
Do you have any advice, Shay, for parents, like
Mhm.
to prevent online grooming? If there's any signs or what they might look out for with their kid, like, do you notice when you're decoying, like things they make you do, or what a parent might be able to watch for?
Yeah. Um,
There may be none. Like
don't
it
put
might be
babies,
that bad.
put your babies on the internet.
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
but a lot of them will, get the decoys to move to another, app that they feel is encrypted, like Telegram or that one I mentioned earlier.
Chat too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so parents should watch for like new apps that are popping up on their phone.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
that's what we're seeing on Thorn too, is just to talk about your kids and be like, how do you use this app? What's going on with it?
Yeah.
That does
And
again seem
maybe
like
pay
a good.
attention to who, if they're, maybe I know that some like apps have, where you can invite friends and maybe keep an eye on who their friends are. Do they actually know them in person?
Yeah.
Don't allow them to accept any request or just to be playing with random strangers. I think is the first red flag
Mhm.
there, not to pay attention to who your children are playing with on their activity, on their games and all that. Like you said, they could very well start maybe in a group chat, like on some of these games. They always have group chats that
Mhm.
or they're just adults in there. Maybe make sure your children are playing games or are not online based. I would say anything to keep them off the internet.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a
Yeah.
direct line to those kids, man.
Yeah. It's the white van and candy and puppies of today.
Yep,
Yeah.
White Van
What it is.
2.0. Free
Yes,
candy.
it is. That's right. Um, yeah. What else was I
So,
gonna ask?
what do you see tactics over and over again that Preds use to groom children? Does anything stand out as um, common tactics they use?
Yeah. I actually wrote some down that I come across often while decoying. Some tactics.
Thank you, Michelle. I did not know that because I don't even allow my kids on there. Roblox
Yeah,
is just so gloriously nasty.
I don't know. Yeah. Um, they're always using manipulation. In any case, for the child to manipulate the child for whether that be what looks prettier, maybe like they you know
Oh,
they ask for certain ways that you pose or how you dress or I'm sorry, maybe I'm reading the wrong question. I almost forgot already, but I know
okay.
that manipulation is like the thing. They think they're manipulating a child.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what makes me the angriest about these Preds is that they think they're so fucking smart. Like they're
Yeah.
so much smarter and they're outsmarting everybody and we're all just dumb and gonna fall in line.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's why we like to say we manipulate the manipulators
that's
because
right.
Mhm.
it is always plays a huge factor in every case. They think they're manipulating their child.
My
Mhm.
friends and I call that topping them from the bottom. That's a little inappropriate, but
Oh my god!
still one of my favorite phrases.
Yeah. Yeah. And even a lot of the things or little like tactics they use I come across, they like to promise the child like, oh, I can buy you a phone and you gotta keep it quiet and just or I'm gonna take you shopping or whatever they can use to like build this great life for a child to be with it, you know.
Yeah.
An interesting thing that we saw in a catch recently was we had a pred coaching a child on how to get around measures that the parent had put in place to keep them safe. So basically you, as the decoy had said, that your camera doesn't work. And so he coached you around that. Like, do you see that a lot where they will try and train you to get around the safeguards parents put in place for children?
Yeah, that's funny that you you read those chat logs, huh?
I did.
Yeah, he's like trying to show me screenshots and okay, you go to your settings. This is how you remove your, you know, your video block or whatever. Always
Really?
trying to get me to figure out how to get my video working, and when it gets so much, I'm like, okay, well, let me ask my grandma. She'll lift it this one time, you know, to make them a little nervous about it's why, you know, but that, and you know, moving me to other apps and where they think
we saw that with the WAP catch too. Yeah. He was trying to get the decoy to use her brother's tablet. So it's like almost like a desperation. Like they're willing to like find any little loophole and like, you know,
not
way
our
to get
most
the kid
recent.
into.
Sorry, kitten.
No, that's all right. I was just
not our most recent, but the New York catch before, the guy, the decoy said she was at a hotel with an older man before. And so the pred from New York, he was asking the decoy, well, how did you do it? Did you go up to the front desk? Like he's trying to get her to train him how to successfully do this horrible thing that another man had already done to her. Like my head was about to explode listening to this.
Yeah, Michael Daly.
Yeah. So it's very common. And another thing to watch out for, you know, no matter how careful you are as a parent, these guys are going to come in and try and circumvent the system. They'll try and train your kids how to do it. So that I think is why it's so important to talk to your kids, have an ongoing conversation with them so they know that these types of things are going to come up and they won't be surprised by them.
I do have one more thing I almost forgot. Maybe even when it comes to watching your kids' phones and all that, I would even suggest checking their archives. It's scary. From time to time, where you can see what was deleted, and just by going into your archives, your messages, I think, are still good for like 30 days after they've been deleted. So that's another tip.
That is a good point. And if you're not sure what she's talking about, when you delete messages, they go into an archive generally. I know they do for Android. But yeah, go in, check those archives. You might find a lot of stuff in there. That goes for spouses too. Be careful.
Yeah.
I don't know this from experience, but you know. I do not from being all hackery. So let's see. What do you think, Shay, the justice system, how do you think they're doing? Just, you know, we don't need a rundown, but what's your thoughts of how they're working with catch teams or how they're working with actual children who are being affected by these issues? Are they being effective?
It feels like it's not enough. It feels like money plays a huge factor in this, unfortunately. I think that, you know, cases cost money and equipment and all that costs money, and they don't want to use that to put towards.
But it's just, I feel like that's priorities though, because we put so much time, effort, and money into the war against drugs, you know, for generations, but we can't make kids the actual priority.
Yeah.
Like, No, but I agree. I don't think they take it nearly seriously enough. Like it's
Yeah, in a newspaper article recently, I think Jefferson County was saying, we need help us, and at the same time, sometimes when we go out there on catches, they're like, F you. What they mean is we need money, not that we need help.
They said, give us more money and we'll save your kids. Well,
that's why I think organizations like Tommy's and all of them, private organizations are so important because, it's not about money. Doesn't play a factor most of the time in those things, and we have communities or organizations that are actively trying to focus on that, and I don't see that in the justice system. Cooley, you guys were kind of going over like statistics with ICAC a while back on like their percentages, and it's like CPP had way more than they were delivering in that county. Correct me, out there, but
it's not exactly apples to apples because we were doubling the amount of catches they had, and they were counting their arrests, I think, but we have 50% on our arrests, so we were keeping up, right? As far if you're comparing arrest to arrest, but if you compare catches to arrests, we were like double. That is pretty wild. But we are getting close to the end, Shay. Is there anything that you wanted to say or any message you have for parents or just anyone out there?
Well, I appreciate first of all, I appreciate your guys' channel so much. Like I say all the time, and I'm showing it, super important, informative, and you guys have shared stuff in the past where I was like, wow, I would have never, it would have never clicked in my head to do some research as you guys have developed and pulled and have shared with us. So I appreciate your guys' channel for that so much. So thank you for that. And other organizations that are doing this and more so our decoys and any decoys. I say this all the time. There's more predators than there are decoys. And, decoying is not for everybody. And it is hard. It is a hard job to take on. It's time consuming and that takes away from our personal lives, our family, and I appreciate our decoys so much. So much. They truly take on a lot, and we don't have a whole lot that OGs that are with us, but I mean they're amazing. I appreciate all you guys.
I do too. Like the decoys, chef's kiss, all of them. Like just amazing people. They've earned their angel wings as far as I'm concerned.
I'm impressed anytime that we like have to go through the chat logs or anything. It's impressive the amount of stuff that you guys put up with. I don't know if it's a thing that I could handle and mentally be okay to have to get into that character with them. But I'm not joking when I say that decoys are my heroes, because I think it takes like balls of steel to be able to deal with these people. And you're doing it for kids. And to me, that's about the best you can be, is like to be that person for the kids. So
it does.
Appreciate you.
Do we have time for one question, Shay? I was wondering if you're okay. I'll ask it. But we talked about why you're wearing a mask today. And you had mentioned that you see people out in the community. Did you want to speak on that at all? Maybe like how often you might run into people in the community, or
that's pretty interesting. Actually,
like we're talking about how like amazing our decoys are, what amazing, beautiful people you are. and you're hiding your face, and it's breaking my heart. Like, seeing, I mean, you look great in the mask, but like, I'm just,
Like a
I think
ninja.
people would be interested to hear like why you're wearing it, if you're comfortable sharing.
No, that's totally fine. And I'm sure a lot of people just don't know why, but I decoy, especially on Telegram. It's one of my main apps that I use too, and it brings people like right down the street to me. So a lot of the time, I run into my predators that we're about to catch or that we've caught. Like, it's pretty regular. And for my safety, my family safety, uh, I'll do my best to stay off screen, fully screen. I know that during the summit and all that, we've taken pictures and videos and all that, but we try to share those things in a private server. But yeah, that is why I literally run into lots of my preds around where I live, around gas stations and stores that I use all the time, and that's why.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, everything with us. I think it's been really valuable for us and for parents. And I mean, you are just such an amazing person. You're like my favorite decoy, and and just one of my favorite people from the team, kind of, from the start. So we're really honored to have you as our very first guest on the show. You've just been great. And,
can I just say that Shay has really fun chats to read when she is decoying. She'll throw little Easter eggs in there that just will crack us up. Like, that the Pred has no idea what she's talking about, but there's a little something in there for Cooley.
Oh yeah, she'll leave little presents in there for me. But yeah, and just all around fun chats to read in general. But I mean, as fun as these types of things could be, but I mean, she's just she's a character, and she's a character when she's decoying as well. So Kidden, did you have anything else for us tonight?
I just wanted to say thank you again, Shay. Honestly, I see your passion. I see your fire. Like, it's impressive, and I feel like this world's a safer place with you. Taking that bullet for those kids. I hate that you have to go through some of it, but you are making such a difference. And all decoys, like, I'm gonna cry now.
I know.
I think it's amazing. I know.
I suffer the same affliction when I think about the decoys sometimes. So Shay,
I love it.
If anyone wants to decoy for CPP, how would they do that? What would they do?
Mortal Kombat dropped it.
Oh yeah, the link. Thank you. So just hop onto our website and go to our help center and fill out an interest form there. As long as you're in the United States, you can help. we need help all the time, and just be ready for the classes in between, and we do our best to try to.
So cppfam.com is the site to go to. All right, everybody.
Peach, that's perfect. What a way to transmute the pain you had to endure.
Yeah.
That's a beautifully said. Peach, I'm so glad to see you, by the way.
Yeah,
it's so nice to see
you, Peach.
And
I love Peach.
Lil Ash, too.
And Judd. So many good people. I'm just answering questions, not
so many good people.
Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for stopping in tonight. I am Cooley McCoolson. We got Kiddens McCoolson and Shay Bay from CPP. We want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. We love you all. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Y'all.